Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to film a video talking about how I moved out at 20 because it's very young. I know maybe that is not so young in your world, but where I grew up and even now where I live in Vancouver, it's not super common for people to move out at that age. So for any of you who are wanting to move out and you're young and you want some advice or tips, I got you. So I'm going to kind of walk you through my story of how I got to this place. I'm 22 now, still living on my own, with my partner, and he and I have been living together now for 2 years, which is crazy. So I want to start by talking about kind of like the norms of moving out where I live, and in Canada more generally, it's not super common for people to move out while they're in school or, you know, even just like after graduating high school. It's not really common for people to go away for school and like live in a dorm or live, you know, on campus. Like, it's more common here that people commute to school. That's what I did. So for the first 2 years of my university, I was commuting from my parents' house, and I loved living at my parents' house too. Like, I want to preface that. Like, I didn't have an issue with my parents at all. Rewind a little bit back to high school when I met my boyfriend, my current partner now. And when I met him, we were only 16, so we were really young. And he always talked about going to school in Boston at a music school. You may have heard of it, called Berklee School of Music. And when you're 16 and someone's kind of like telling you this sort of stuff, it's sort of like someone revealing like their hopes and dreams. You're just kind of like, okay, like good luck with that. Or also thinking like, I don't know how long this relationship is going to last. I'm in high school. Does this really affect me? Probably not. And so it was sort of something we talked about and we threw it around like for fun. But Patrick, he had this idea of going to this school, which is like one of the best music schools in the world. Yeah, so we graduated high school. And he was like, you know, Emily, I'm going to do an audition for this school. I'm going to go to Boston. I'm going to audition and I'm going to see if I can get in, just because why not? And I was like, okay, like I 100% support you in this. Obviously, we had been dating for a couple of years at that point, or like a year and a half or something. I sort of got more interested in going with him if he were to get in. And obviously, eventually he got accepted. And that's actually why I moved out in the first place, was to go with him to Boston, where we lived for a while, so he could be in school. Again, I don't think that if I had not ever met Patrick, or we were not together, I do not think I would have moved out at 20. Actually, I know I wouldn't have moved out at 20 because my siblings both finished their degrees before moving out, and so I was sort of the mindset that like that wasn't something that I was even going to be able to do. Your parents are definitely a factor. Like, are they comfortable with you moving out? Are you moving out with a roommate? Are you moving out with a boyfriend? Like, do they like this person? Do they think this is a good idea? And I know it sounds annoying and also like frustrating, but your parents do most of the time have your best interest at heart. And I do say most of the time because I do feel like there are some parents that maybe aren't best equipped to be parents, and you know, if that's your situation, I'm not going to go to that, but most of the time parents do really care about their kids and they really want to see their kids succeed, and you know, their worries are totally valid and their concerns are totally valid. So, you know, when I told my parents, and Patrick and I sat down, my parents were like, hey, this is something we're thinking about doing. They were like, well, Emily, like, this is gonna put you behind in your education, like this is gonna put you behind financially. I did not realize how expensive it is to move, not only move out, but then to move across the country to a different country. So that's basically that. My parents were awesome. Like I said, they were very supportive of us, but they had their doubts, very concerned about my education. They also had concerns about, you know, our relationship, because moving out with, you know, a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner, whatever, it does put pressure on your relationship. And then also moving so far away. So it's not like I just moved down the street or in the same city or even like the next city over, an hour away. I was literally living like a 5 or 6 hour plane ride away. And once we sort of like laid out how much work we'd done on researching how much rent would cost, researching on how to budget, all this stuff, we really took it into our own hands to make this happen. And I think that's really important. If you want something, you have to go and get it. Like, you can't expect that your parents are going to be okay with you just being like casually, oh yeah, I'm thinking of moving out. And when they ask you like, oh, what would your monthly budget be? You're like, I don't fucking know. I don't even know what a budget is. Like, I've never even saved $1 in my life. Like, Do you think that they're gonna wanna support you in that move? Probably not. That's sort of the first thing I really recommend, is like having a solid plan, having a concrete plan, having even just a general idea of like what your day-to-day would look like and what your financial situation would be, because that's normally what parents worry about the most, is like the financial problems and then like your safety and stuff. But also don't be silly when it comes to asking for help. Like if there's a situation, or if there's something going on or an emergency happens and you don't have the funds, like do not be afraid, if you have people to reach out to, that you reach out to them and let them know that you're struggling. Because if you don't figure it out fast, it just gets worse and worse and worse and snowballs and really becomes something that even if you ask for help, probably they're not going to be able to do anything about it. Some of you may be wondering how I had money, since I had been a student paying for my school and also not really working full time. I was in a car accident in, I don't know how old I was, maybe 14. So I had been compensated for that because I was actually fairly seriously injured, I guess. I don't know. I was injured, and I've also done a video about my car accident that I was in. So that's how I paid for school for the most part, and I was also working, like I said. So that's that. We moved out. We lived in Boston for a little while. For the most part, like my age was not something that I ever considered, because once you move out, it's sort of like you either are going to succeed and you're going to be awesome and you're going to really take all those lessons and all the information that people were throwing at you throughout your life that you thought was garbage and like really apply it and really do well on your own, or you're like, you know, or you're just going to really struggle and it's going to be really, really hard. Fortunately, Patrick and I were both really financially, we're just really good with our money. We're both savers, so it wasn't difficult for us to like make a budget, stick to a budget. I used to live with blinders on. Like I didn't like talking about money. I didn't like, you know, looking at my bank account, and I still don't like talking about money. That's the truth. I don't know why, but I just hate it. It makes me cringe. Anytime someone talks about like how much they get paid or this, I'm like, I don't want to know. Like I don't want to hear it. Even if it's like $1 billion gajillion dollars, even if it's like $10, like it's still same reaction for me. I get cringe. It makes me really uncomfortable, and I don't know why. Looking at my bank account has become something that I do all the time. So I definitely recommend getting your bank app on your phone so you can just check it whenever. It just keeps you accountable, which is awesome. And then in August, we found our next apartment, the one we're living in now, that we absolutely love. We love where we live. I love the apartment, although it's, you know, not perfect and not even close to like, you know, if I designed an apartment, this is probably not really what it would look like. I love it, and I love that, you know, we've put our own stamp on it. So yeah, that's sort of how the progression has come. I know it's like a long-winded story, but it's important to sort of let you guys know that while I moved out at 20, and that's maybe something you're doing, the added difficulty of like moving to a different country and then coming back also is like an added thing that I should let you guys know. I think the most common thing that I would recommend to people who are moving out is to consider like rent and the area you want to live in and be realistic about that. A lot of people in Vancouver have roommates. I would say majority of my friends that are moved out are older than me by at least a couple years and have roommates. And this is just the way it is in Vancouver. I think it's one of the most expensive places to live in the world. Comparing the cost of living and the average rent, it's like insane. So we know this when we were moving here. I mean, I've grown up here. I know how expensive it is to live here. If you're moving in with a partner, make sure it's someone that you plan on being with for a little while. Like moving in with someone that you're romantically involved with is pretty much like getting married. That's something to take into consideration. If you're already feeling iffy about your relationship, don't fucking do it. It's just gonna be a mistake. Don't forget all those costs that you're gonna have that maybe you don't have right now. So if you're like living at this point where they're like, shit, I got so much extra money, I'm living at home, this is great, maybe I should move out. Don't forget that you're probably not paying for groceries, you're probably not paying for, you know, electric, hydro, rent, whatever else. So don't forget those things. And groceries. We always forget the cost of groceries is so high. So you just have to like balance and be realistic. Like you're not gonna have everything you want. And that's the other thing too, like when you're looking at spaces, have references. Like have your family friends write you a really good reference saying how responsible you are. Like be prepared for also like the scrutiny of like your landlord, that you are probably going to be the youngest person living in your building and what that probably looks like. They may think you're a party animal. Personally, I'm not. So I have nothing to hide, but if you are, maybe pretend you're not. I don't know. There's lots of benefits obviously to living on your own, but there's also lots of benefits to living with your parents, and please take advantage of those. Like, there's such a short period of time where you're being taken care of, there's someone buying your groceries, there's someone paying your rent, all that stuff, and then you live for most of your life doing that all on your own. So definitely don't rush the process. That's all I have to say. I hope you all enjoyed this little video. Let me know down below if you have any video requests that you would like to see from me. Definitely follow me on Instagram. I freaking love Instagram. It's where I hang out all the time. But yeah, follow me there because I post stories and stuff. And I think that's pretty much it. I hope you all enjoy this video, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye guys!